and good evening, and welcome to the Destination Series presented by the International Superyacht Society. Firstly, before we do anything, to acknowledge Maggie and Vanessa of the ISS. Lots of work goes on before any of these events, and thank you both. Also, another little bit of housekeeping for this evening. There are various and changing travel restrictions. We all know that are affecting all nations. We're not speaking to these tonight. Tonight, we are talking about timeless destinations and timeless wonder, not temporary policies. So getting those out of the way, we have some wonderful presenters speaking as experts on their respective destinations. We're going to share a journey tonight. We're going to go from Panama, Costa Rica, across the Galapagos to Tahiti and end in wonderful Fiji. Each speaker will introduce the next as we sail through our evening, or your time zone as it might be, my evening. And accompanying our speakers is one superstar tonight. We've got the Pacific Ocean accompanying us. 30% of the world's water, 60 million square miles, and big enough to fit all the land masses combined. A true superstar joining us. So with that in place, to get to this amazing ocean from the east, one way I know that's best is through a little canal. And Alex Risi from Panama is joining us on the stage. Welcome, Alex.
Panama is just not only the canal, there's a lot more to see in Panama. And I'll try to tell you as much as I can briefly. For example, we are hurricane free all year long, so that really helps a lot for boats trying to stay away from the Caribbean during the hurricane season. We don't have that problem here. If you're entering Panama, for example, coming on the Atlantic side, there is one stop that a lot of people have heard about. It's Bocas del Toro. Bocas del Toro, it's in the northwest side of Panama, and it has about 9 islands, 52 keys, and just about 200 tiny islets. They have a great marina there, Red Frog Marina, which is located in Isla Bastimentos. It's a marina where you have all the facilities and you can actually clear in. The marina will be assisting you to clear in and help you get the boat ready if you're waiting for guests. In Bocas, there is an international airport where, depending on the size of the airplane, you can actually land at the international airport. Otherwise, we can arrange local charter airplanes to meet the guests at any international airport here in Panama City, and then transfer to a local charters and then fly for about an hour and 15 minutes to Bocas del Toro. From Bocas del Toro, for example, depending where the boat is, it's if it's an anchor or it's in the marina, it's about 15-20 minutes tender drive, which is very easy. In Bocas, basically, there is a lot of places and islands where to go and what to do. There is basically not restrictions. Any water sport is basically available, can be done. And there is islands like Zapatillas Keys, where there is white sands, and it's ideal for snorkeling and diving. And you have great coral reefs and a variety of fish and hiking and turtle nesting as well. Other islands that you can have, it's like Isla Carenero, Red Frog Beach, which is a wonderful island where it's called Red Frog Beach because actually the high amount of red frogs that can be observed in the way down to the path of the beach. So it's a really beautiful place, really strange to see all these frogs around. It's really something different. Other than that, there's many of islands, but I'm just highlighting the few of them. And another island that can be also visited. It's called Starfish Beach, and it's because of the name is because it's there is a lot of starfish, obviously, and it's a must do and see area in Bocas del Toro.
Amazing introduction. I think everyone has learned a hell of a lot about Panama. And if we can move on to another incredible location, Jeff is going to join us on stage from Marina Vela from Costa Rica. Hello, Jeff.
We invite you to step outside your world and into ours, where rivers tumble over cliffs and volcanoes loom over the landscape, where nature always rules and adventure awaits. Sometimes it's relaxing, sometimes it's a rush. It's a long way from the ordinary, but so easy to get to. Come explore year-round. Choose Costa Rica.
The big news in Costa Rica for everybody is the new law, the new marina law that was passed 3 weeks ago. This is hot off the presses. This is big news for all of you here. This law does a lot of amazing things for marinas in Costa Rica, but I want to tell you the 4 big things it does that affects all of you. Number 1, private vessels can now stay in Costa Rica on a temporary import permit for up to 2 years. So previously it was 90 days. And that was a real issue for folks because after 90 days, you had to leave the country with your yacht and you couldn't come back for 90 days. And now you can come in for 6 months, renew it for 6 months, renew it for 6 months, up to 2 years, which is great news. Somebody asked about chartering before I tried to refresh my screen and get back in. This law now allows 24-meter yachts and above to legally charter in Costa Rica. So that was a big change because a lot of people wanted to do it, not just privately, but friends and family. Now you can do it lucratively. So that's really exciting. You get a 1-year charter license to charter in Costa Rica. The other important thing, just the 2.5% charter fee off your standard MIBA contract. So very affordable in comparison to the rest of the countries out there. So good job on Costa Rica's part, the Marina Association, to get this law passed. And spares in transit, duty-free, finally. So if you're bringing in repairs, you're bringing in stuff for your yacht, that now comes in duty-free. So all this happened in the last 3 weeks. We're super excited. It was about 4 or 5 years of hard work. We had the president actually come out to the marina. The president came to the marina to sign the new law. We had a rep from Fraser Yachts there. Mike Busacco was the COO. He was there with us signing. So really big day for yachting in Costa Rica. So that's probably the biggest news I wanted to share today. Just quickly, we have 5 marinas in Costa Rica on the Pacific coast. We start at Marina Papagayo up in the north. You come down to Los Sueños, Marina Los Sueños. Then you have Marina Vela. We're kind of both in the middle. And then down in Golfito, which is on the south, you have Marina Golfito, and you have Banana Bay Marina. So all in all, about 700 slips. I don't think people realize how much of kind of like a world-class infrastructure we have that we've been building for the last 20 years in Costa Rica. And Marina Vela, we have a travel lift, 200-ton travel lift, a full-service yacht yard. Papagayo's got the 4 seasons. I mean, there's a lot of great infrastructure on the Pacific coast. Why Costa Rica? Just quickly, I mean, year-round, amazing weather, right? With the exception of maybe September, October, you have great weather like so many of these destinations that are talking today, but great weather year-round. You got wildlife unbelievable. Most people know Costa Rica, small as it is, 5% of the world's diversity and species right here in Costa Rica. It's an amazing wildlife place to see. Surfing's amazing. Sports fishing is amazing. And I'm sure like just your other countries, the people here are wonderful, friendly, welcoming. Brendan, you asked a great question. What's 4 things or 3 things you can do on the water that you can't do on land in Costa Rica? And yes, we have 4 islands like everybody else. We got some great islands. We got the Bad Islands up in the north with some great bull shark diving. Guys, we have these super pods of spinner dolphins. That's like a really fun thing to do. You send out your spotter plane, you go chase them down. We got them in the north and south, depending on the time of the year. These are 1,000 spinner dolphins traveling together at the same time. And people go diving with the sea bobs and kind of go through those. Really fun experience. Humpback whales, we get the migration from the north and the south. So pretty much year round, we have the humpback whales with their calves. The popular one is July to October. That's when the South American humpback whales come up. So a lot of great things to do. If you're a sports fisherman, you got to go check out the seamounts. Seamounts are absolutely amazing. They're about 100 miles off the Pacific of Costa Rica. You can get 30, 40 shots a day on blue marlin, which is something you can't do a lot of places in the world. So anyway, that's a quick overview of Costa Rica. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. And I'll be at the Costa Rica table after to take more questions. Thanks, Captain Brendan.
Jeff, that was so worth getting. Thank you. And we're going to have a look into the Galapagos. And we're going to have a little look at a video, and then Antonio from Seamasters is going to join us. Welcome to the Galapagos.
Galapagos is open to the entire world. Visit one of the most incredible paradises on the planet, the dream destination for adventurers and nature lovers. The Galapagos Islands are located in the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of Ecuador at latitude 0. Endemic species live here, such as the famous giant tortoises, flightless cormorants, land and marine iguanas, and many more. It's the preferred destination of divers due to its most perfect marine sanctuary. Now, it's ready to offer you pure air and beautiful landscapes with infinite spaces. This is ideal for healing the body and mind. In Galapagos, we take the suggestions of national and international health authorities very seriously. In public spaces and tourism companies, such as hotels, restaurants, yachts, and travel agencies, we're doing a great job to take care of residents and visitors' health. To come to Galapagos, you must present a negative test for COVID-19 and hire the services of a hotel or tour operator who will be in charge of providing you all the support you need to make your experience safe and memorable. We know you want to come. Schedule your trip to the Galapagos Islands now. We're ready to welcome you. Galapagos Chamber of Tourism.
Everybody asks when is a good time? Anytime, because we are right on the equator. The weather here is, hold on. Now you can see me. So the weather here is quite the same all year round. We have excellent conditions for visiting anytime. Galapagos is famous for its wildlife, and the wildlife is super well conserved. The national park, the government of Ecuador has done preserving these islands in the last 60 years, and now we are one of the most preserved islands in the world, having 95% of our original flora and fauna in the best shape conditions. When a yacht comes to Galapagos, can go on a cruise around the islands. Normally you go on visitor sites on the land, walking through colonies of marine birds, sea lions, iguanas, albatross, penguins that see you as one more animal of the environment and don't show any fear at all. This is great because you can feel like one more of the environment in the Galapagos, not like an intruder. So you're sharing the place, and this feeling is very, very special and will stay in your heart and mind forever. The underwaters of Galapagos are outstanding, are just incredible. Because we are on the equator, we have marine currents coming from the north, from the south, from the west, and therefore we have a lot of rich upwellings and nutrients in the water. We have the largest schooling of hammerhead sharks. We have the largest aggregation of whale sharks in the northern islands called Wolf and Darwin. The biomass is the density, the highest and the biggest in the underwaters of the Galapagos. And it is very easy to come with a yacht. You just need to do the proper connection with the right agent who is going to arrange the permits for the yacht to enter Galapagos. Some considerations are needed to be done in the last port before heading to our special and protected area, like cleaning the hull of the yacht to avoid introducing any new marine organism, or getting the yacht fumigated or get a fumigation certificate in the last port. And once you are here, it's very easy. There's some inspections from the authorities. and then you can start. You can pick up the guests that could arrive to two separate airports where private planes may land, and to start a cruise for 10 days around the islands. As I said, we are on the equator. The conditions are very easy. Water is very clear most of the time, especially from December till May. So it's very easy to cruise around. The yacht may stay 2 months in Galapagos, make 2 guest trips with separate groups. It's normally private, no charter allowed in the Galapagos. We do have provisions for yachts here locally. Actually, Galapagos is a remote location. However, we have a very well system of provisions for yachts. We do have a lot of fuel available in Balto Island, which is the only station in the Galapagos. As I said, 2 airports available. So the islands are really, really a unique place to visit, for completely different from the rest of the world. It's not exactly a vacation, it's actually an adventure, because every day you will be snorkeling with penguins or walking on these pristine areas or tender rides along cliffs with a lot of marine birds and penguins or flightless cormorants. So we are waiting for you. We would look forward to see you in the Galapagos in the near future. It will be great
Antonio,
to see you.
that is wonderful. I think I speak for many yacht captains. My trips to the Galapagos are absolute career highlights, just wonderful. For those listening, I don't know if you could make out, the sea lions were joining Antonio in his talk, just to add that true authenticity. We'll keep moving. We are going to go across now. We're going to continue westerly, and we're going to visit that incredible group of islands that speak for themselves, French Polynesia, Tahiti.
Brandon. So yes, you have left Galapagos, and now after 10 or 15 days at sea, of course, doing the longest trip ever at sea, possible from Galapagos to Nuku-Hiva, 3,000 miles. You've arrived in French Polynesia, and this is your first occasion to meet the Polynesian people. You will meet some French people as well, but not too many, I promise. If you're able to stop in the Marquesas and your guests could fly to Tahiti and then join the Marquesas Island, you will enjoy a very different scenery from the rest. These islands have no lagoons, just like the Galapagos, so they're still wild. So you can dive, but the water is a bit murky, but all is about trekking. Trekking inside the islands is beautiful. And the culture in the Marquesas is very alive. Of course, everybody has heard about the tattoos that all our kids wear now. They all come from ancient Marquesian islands. But the rest of these islands are beautiful. The scenery are great. These islands are high islands, and I quite like them, of course. Then you have 3 groups in French Polynesia. The second group of islands on your way will be from east to west, will be the Tuamotu Islands, and they all atolls, of course. And everything is about the sea there. You don't have much on land, of course, but everything is about the sea. We have big animals, just like in the Galapagos, so we share that. So you can see a lot of sharks because they are protected, actually, by the country. And you can see everything else. Apart maybe from white sharks, we have about just everything here. A lot of fish as well, turtles and manta rays, of course. These are the main atolls are Fakarava, which is a World Heritage. So it's getting protected. So we keep it in good shape for you guys. And the next island is also Rangiroa, of course, where you can land with your jet. If you have a jet not too big, you can arrive in Tahiti, and then you can arrive in Nukuhiva, land in Nukuhiva in Marquesas Island, and also in Rangiroa, which has a fairly big airport. The normal path in the Tuamotu is from east to west. So you would start cruising from Fakarava, some even from further south, Makemo Island, all the way up through all these places to Rangiroa. And some atolls are beautiful, like Tohao or Tahanea, and you cannot access by air. The only way to arrive is by sea, by yacht, of course. And this is very the flat islands have a very different feeling. So guests can be can have a different feeling. It makes for a very awkward feeling to be in these swimming pools that are inside the ocean. So you can see over the reef that deep ocean and waves, and inside it's very calm and flat calm. It has a very strange feeling. And then on to the Society Island, we have two groups: the Leeward Island and the Windward Islands. It's the same, about the same places. The main island is Tahiti, and then you have at the end of the group you have Bora Bora, famous Bora Bora, of course. And these islands are a bit mixed between the Marquesas and the Tuamotu, where you have both trekking, good trekking ashore, good diving. If you want to dive with a dive guide, of course, you use Christelle and Rodolphe from Tahiti Private Expedition. And they will show you everything that you need to see if you don't want to miss anything, of course. And these islands have a bit of everything. They are a bit more civilized, so you find hotels, you find restaurants, not too many. So you are still in secluded anchorages, just like Raiatea, you were mentioning this one. And places in Bora Bora or Wahine, famous Burain Bay in Wahine, for example, or Opunohu Bay in Moorea, are famous places to hang out. A lot of yachts are staying there. Not too many off-season, which is from November to March, let's say, about summer, tropical summer. And of course, our season would start better in March, April to September. This is when the sail yachts want to come because it's windy. It's windy in winter. And the motor yachts can come all year round because actually they quite enjoy less wind at Christmas, December, New Year's Eve. It's less windy and large yachts enjoy it as well. So once you've finished with Tahiti, which is the base, the main airport is in Tahiti, the good provisioning is in Tahiti. Once you finished enjoying yourself as crew, because the crew go ashore in Tahiti mostly, then you can get your guests on board from the international airport by jet or by commercial plane, and then on to Moorea, Wahine, Taha, and Bora Bora, finish in Bora Bora, where you can enjoy the big hotels, the spa, civilization, as they call it, but it's not too pregnant. And then, of course, once you finish with Bora Bora, you can clear out of Bora Bora. You could clear in Nukuhiva. 1,000 miles after, you can clear out of Bora Bora and go on to the next group of islands, the next group of Polynesian island or Melanesian island, which is Fiji. And I will let Captain Chase Smith talk about it.
Thanks, Etienne. And welcome to Chase.
Pula,
Chase,
guys.
welcome. That's some introduction video you've got going on there.
Yeah, I'm here to talk about Fiji. As you see from the video, it's very diverse, very active, and lots of activities to do. We're starting to get a lot more younger owners and adventurous people, and Fiji offers it all. We've got 333 islands, which makes for ideal exploring by yacht. Lots of these obviously can only be explored by yachts, so it's a perfect place for that. We've got volcanic islands, sandbars, limestone formations that look like mushrooms. It really is diverse scenery here. There's a large spread of islands, closer islands, further islands. So we'll start off with the closer islands. The Mamanuca and Yasawa group is perfect for short trips and charters, whereas it's very close to the international airport and Port Denera, Fiji's only superyacht marina. Great provisions and services there, and you can access the islands just 20 to 80 miles away with calm and protected waters and the most calm weather this side of the island. It makes great for guests who don't want to travel too far. There's lots of activity here, from the surf at Cloudbreak to diving to caves to Champagne Beach, which has got white sand like baby powder. It's got resorts and spas, so this is a very simple, easy trip for the guests to do. If you guys are more dive orientated, you got to go out to the northeast, the Lomoviti group, where it's got some of the best corals, soft corals in the world, and the deep oceans coming up to the shallow protecting reefs around the islands makes great for pelagic fish and manta rays, hammerhead sharks, tunas, and we're starting to get more humpback whales, and in this area you'll start to see them out there when you're cruising around, which is really good to see. Fiji's also got a great bull shark and tiger shark hand feed dive, where the guys feed the sharks by hand and you sit back and watch. This is definitely a highlight, so I recommend going to see that if you're here in Fiji. We have Taviuni, which towers out of the ocean. It's also known as a garden island, and this is a very picturesque tropical island filled with rainforests, plenty bird life, and awesome waterfalls going straight into the ocean. There are lovely hikes, pearl farms to visit, and great freshwater swimming holes here to explore. This is a lovely place to stop by on your trip through, making your way up that way. For the more adventurous people, there's the remote Lao group. This is the far east end of Fiji, and it's upwind and a bit out the way, which keeps it untouched. I'm not going to spoil the treat, so if you want to hear more about Lao group or see the Lao group, you'll have to come visit us. Fiji is a great place to base yourself for the season or the year. It's pretty central to Tonga and Vanuatu and New Zealand, and it's got great facilities, great repair facilities, great marina, great entertainment for the crew. It's fairly cheap, and we have the friendly Fijian people. So we look forward to seeing you here, and back to you, Brendan.
Chase, thanks so much. That's an amazing talk about an amazing destination. Antonio and the Sea Lions are back. Etienne is just joining us.
Back here.
Etienne, before this conference, I shared a day where I said it was my perfect yacht day in Raiatea, where I just looked out across guests. I called it the impossibly turquoise waters. It looked false.
Exactly.
So
you can see 30, 40 meters below.
Unbelievable. Now, the questions we have, one for Alex. Alex, how long can a super yacht stay in Panama?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. There is actually no restriction, to be honest, because what we do is we do a cruising permit or navigation permit, which is good for 1 year. and there is no restrictions right now to renew it every year. So you can actually stay 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. There's no problem with that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the crew can actually stay depending on the nationality. They can stay from 3 to 6 months. They are treated as a tourists, so they get, depending on where they're coming from, there is no restriction like from Europeans, New Zealanders, Americans. So there's really no time limit on there.
Fantastic. That's good to know. We've got a question that I'm going to throw to the room. It's a lovely question, and having done this, I'm interested to hear from the other side. Should these destinations be considered as one long trip in the Pacific? How long should be devoted to cruising these various areas on a South Pacific itinerary? It's good questions. It's a big investment to come into the Pacific in time, in your infrastructure. Antonio, you mentioned the limited period of stay in Galapagos. What's our perfect length of stay in the Galapagos? Well, Antonio, I think you've caught Jeff's disease now. You're just a bit on silent there. There we go. I think I can hear the sea lions. Antonio? Okay, look. We've gone to the Galapagos. We're going across the Pacific. We've visited Alex and Jeff. Etienne, how long are people staying these days with you? For guests, not the crew, the guests.
Now the average stay in Tahiti is 3 months, 90 days. A very normal pattern would be for a yacht to cross at Christmas Panama, stay in Panama, then go over to Costa Rica for the next few months, February and March, then move on to Galapagos for another month or 2 months, then move to us. June, July is the best time, obviously, and yachts would then go to Fiji August and September and finish up in New Zealand and Australia, where they can get a refit and maintenance, which is very important. And then the year after, they can come back the same way. They can come back to Tahiti, go back to the Galapagos, etc. And that's what we often see now.
That's a great, that's a lovely itinerary and a super segue back to Chase, because we're seeing quite a few boats that don't want to leave now. They're doing the New Zealand, Fiji, Pacific Islands. How are you seeing that, Chase? Are you seeing much of that happening?
We've got a large group of boats that now live between New Zealand, Fiji, and Tahiti. A few of them have started going into Australia as well, with Australia's refit facilities getting better and better. So there are a large amount of boats carrying year after year, and it's plenty of boats. So definitely the guys are sticking out this area. Is there, and just with a 5-day trip, it's not too far. Tahiti is obviously a little bit further, but if they do the season, they go from New Zealand to Tahiti to Fiji, and back to New Zealand. This is becoming pretty common now. So
brilliant.
I was actually fortunate enough to do a trip a couple of years ago, and we had to own a liveaboard, and we went from Costa Rica to French Polynesia, the islands, Tonga, Fiji, and we do all in about 7 months. So if you do have a liveaboard owner, it's possible to do it in one season. You can see quite a lot, but obviously it's best to maybe go do a season, go to Galapagos, come to Panama, go to Galapagos, go to French Polynesia, maybe spend the season there or the year there, and then from there move on to Fiji, do the season there, and then come to New Zealand. So it's up to the owners.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chase. Jeff, I've got a good question here. Does the new charter regulation allow to also charter Cocos Island, or is it under a special restriction?
No, you can ask them, which is great. That's a great question. And yes, you can. As part of the new charter law, Isla de Coco, or Cocos Island, is part of Costa Rica, so it is covered. You still do need special permits to get to the island. but the
Yes.
charter law does cover that as well. So that's a huge benefit. It's probably one of the most popular diving destinations in Costa Rica. So yes, it is covered by the new law, which is great.
Lovely, Jeff. Antonio, I hope to hear from you this time because there's so much to hear from the Galapagos. What are we saying? Do we take our children to Galapagos? We've got a question. What do we do with kids in the Galapagos?
That's a good question. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Yeah, excellent. Galapagos, sometimes for little kids, it's not that great destination because we have visiting these remote locations involves a lot of walking into the rocky trails sometimes. So sometimes when you have kids, let's say, or 6 years old, it could be a little tough for them. However, for older kids, 10 years old, or teenagers, the Galapagos can become an excellent and educational trip that can give them a totally different view of the a different perspective of the world and in their lives also, because they will understand a lot about nature after visiting Galapagos. But yeah, we do still have a lot of beach areas, easy places to go with little kids. It's very sunny, so it's doable, but not that well recommended for little kids.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Antonio. Thanks for your honesty there. Maybe I was a big kid, but it certainly taught me a little bit about the environment and tourism working together. Got another lovely question. It seems Jeff's opened the door with talk of more freedom in charter. I know Australia has also brought in some new rules. For Etienne and Chase, Etienne, if you can start, what is a charter license in French Polynesia at the moment? How does this work? How long?
It's 6 months. It's granted for 6 months. It's easy to renew. It's just paperwork. It's a lot of bureaucracy. And our tax rate is 5%. 5% on the revenue of the MYBA contract. The procedure has been tested now since 20 years, and it's working well. It's working well.
Yeah. Good. No, it's a very mature.
There was one question from Mark.
setup.
I saw another question from Mark. If we depart from French Polynesia towards Fiji, is the Cook Island and Tonga open? I can tell that the Cook Island at this time are closed. I'm not sure about Tonga, but Chase will know.
That's a great pass to Chase.
Sorry,
The most
Tonga is closed at the moment, along with Vanuatu. Fiji is open, and we did piggyback our charter of French Polynesia, so we have the same policy, 6 months, and our charter rate used to be 10%, and it's just recently dropped down to 5% with tax. So it makes it a little more encouraging.
That's great, guys. It's nice to see some of the national bureaucracies working towards opening it up for yachting and visitors. Look, we've had some great questions. I'm just going to use my screen in order just to give everyone a chance just to give a quick farewell to the room. If I can start with you, Alex. If we start where we started, a farewell comment from Panama.
Hey, thank you very much, Brandon. Thank you. We hope to see you soon. I mean, Panama, it's open to the world. It's a fantastic place to come. Lots of things to do, fun, modern, and you just name it. It's a wonderful stop. Thank you very much for everything. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Alex. And now we're going to go up to Costa Rica. Jeff, your closing remarks on Costa Rica.
You bet. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. I think the Pacific's going to become a really popular destination quickly over the next 5 to 10 years. And a lot of our countries are doing the right things to make it that way. So I think it's a whole new area to explore. Get yourself out of the Atlantic in the bed and try something new. Be one of the first ones to come over. I think I think there's more here and more infrastructure than people realize, and that's the message I want people to take away today. Thanks, Captain.
That's a great message, Jeff. Thank you for that. That's a really good message for the whole room. Antonio, we're underway. We're coming west. What's your farewell from Galapagos?
Well, definitely, yes. I would like to go back that Panama. If a yacht is coming to the Pacific, definitely Panama, explore that area. Costa Rica presentation, absolutely amazing. I've been there so many times. And then Galapagos, that all these islands, all these countries are connected in the biodiversity. So there are some similarities. And the Galapagos is an incredible destination for families, even little kids, but taking considerations. Excellent place for scuba diving. It's a lifetime trip. You will enjoy it. And then leaving this area, going to the South Pacific, life change, and it gets also spectacular. So it's definitely a good gate to carry on.
Antonio, I'm sold. I'm sold. Etienne, I look forward to greeting you again on the dock. What are you going to tell us as a last message from Tahiti?
When I started, only 1% of the total number of yachts would cross Panama and wander in the South Pacific. 5 years ago, the figures were about the same. So though the quantity of yachts was much bigger. So there's still a lot of space. 1% is very little, and we have plenty space. And now that I see every country trying to improve on the charter, this is really making me think that we are at the edge of a very good time for us.
Etienne, brilliant message. Thank you. And Chase, our last stop in Fiji.
I just wanted to say that these islands, Fiji and the rest of the islands we've been talking about, the countries, are a bit different. They don't have so many people. People are a lot friendlier. So the friendly people, I think, make coming to the South Pacific definitely a highlight, and to enjoy and share their remoteness is very different to what the common yachts normally do, cruising the Mediterranean and the Caribbean.
Chase, I agree with all the words spoken. Thank you, gentlemen, for an amazing introduction to your respective zones. Thank you to the ISS for putting this on for us all. And I look forward to hearing of more stories from the Pacific as our growth centre of yachting.